Hello and welcome to my 2018 PC build. I didn't actually need this machine. My current PC was perfectly fine. It was like 6 years old, so I kind of gave into temptation once I got that tax return check and went ahead and bought this. It's pretty much overkill since I only game at 1080p, but hey, whatever. The motherboard wasn't my first choice, but it was bundled together with the RAM and the CPU, so I went ahead and got it all. It was like $669 as a package bundle, which is a pretty good price. Yeah, I tried to install that Cool Master, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so YouTube. So in case you're wondering, that's what the bottom looks like. And that's what it looks like on the top. I had to take the little fan part off to put it on there, but other than that, it was pretty easy to install. Now everything's running with the nice little LEDs. This case I would not actually recommend. It's a Next 340, I believe. It was kind of a pain to get the stuff in there. There were some design flaws that I also didn't really care for. Like if you see right here, the screws that put the video card in place, they don't actually line up with the motherboard. And I know it has to be in there right because the video card is registering and it's staying in place. And also, plugging in the CPU power supply, you had to pull it through that tiny little slot and bend it backwards to put it in there. That was a real big pain. It took me a little bit, but I actually got it. So yeah, if you look at it from here, you can see the holes look like they're almost lined up, but when you actually get to the other side, the holes don't line up. So I have no idea how to fix that, so it's just going to be left like that, I guess. It doesn't really matter, so the GPU is stationary. And also here, when I pushed this down, it kind of gave way a little bit, the hub inside. You can't really see it in this video, but I was trying to demonstrate that. It's a little bit of a give to it. Not a deal breaker, but if you're constantly plugging things in and out, that could probably cause a problem. Plenty of slots. There's USB-C, HDMI, DVI. That's just on the motherboard, and all these optical ports and microphone and everything that I'm not using. This case is built as being VR ready, so it has the motherboard has all the parts in it, and the case also has parts in the front if you want to do it that way. Here's the cable management in the back. I have not tried to tidy it up or anything, but this is what everything looks like. I still haven't put the back cover on there. I'm just gonna stuff all that in there and close the cover. Screw it, I don't actually care about cable management, but that's just, you have plenty of room to work with. Here's the audio from the fans. I didn't go overboard with the LED. I just went with the stock, what comes in the case, but I might put a lighting strip in there later. There are plenty of accessory holes for adding more stuff to it eventually, if that's your kind of thing. So now to test some games out. Now, I don't actually play Fortnite, but as you can see, with VSync off, the frame rate is plenty high. It's running really smoothly. I didn't notice any issues. I only played like a map or two just to kind of test it out, but I didn't see any problems. I liked how it ran. I liked how it ran. And that's Fortnite. Next, I booted up Dark Souls. I don't think this is really a system tester game, but I don't have that many PC games, so I figured it'd be a good idea to go ahead and check this out and see how it runs. I totally meant to do that. That too. As you can see, it's running pretty solid, not really seeing any drops. I'm having all these enemies chase me, doesn't seem to be a problem. Now this fight, I actually did it in one take, but I got my butt handed to me, so I decided I'll go ahead and edit this down. Alright, next up is good old Overwatch. As you can see here, a lot of stuff is going on. People are using abilities, people are being shot. The frame rate is perfectly fine, no problem. I noticed on most of these games, the CPU is not really challenged at all. It's like overkill, but the graphics card gets maxed out easily. I'm only running a 1080, so I guess if you had a 1080 Ti, you would even further. Now this is Final Fantasy XIV, an online game. Now this has always ran pretty good. It's pretty old, about maybe 6 years, and it's been rebuilt, so it runs pretty good even on an old system. But on my original build, my 680, my 660 I used to have, it hit about 54 or 60 on average. On this one, it goes a lot higher, runs a lot smoother, which is a pretty nice upgrade. Now I tried to find spots to kind of test out the GPU or the CPU, but I couldn't really think of anything. I just reinstalled the game, so I just kind of flew around, ran around, and then I decided to go look for like a bigger fight, like Fate, since those are pretty taxing on the system. Okay, here's Final Fantasy 15. I believe on this clip I have everything on, and then I played through it the same area again with the NVIDIA work stuff turned off. But I decided to just show this clip because even with the frame rate, the VSync is on here, so the frame rate is capped, but even with that off, it still seems about the same. It'll go up to about maybe 80 and back down, but when I get into combat, the frame rate seems to be about the same area, so I decided to just go ahead and have one clip instead of having a bunch of different clips at different settings.
You'll observe the eccentric behavior. I'm sensing some aggression.
So unlike Overwatch, this game does hit the CPU fairly hard at points, but even then, it's still mainly a GPU issue.
Ready for this? Gotcha. It's time. Say your prayers. Eyes forward. Oh, sorry, Prompto, you're up.
Okay, this might be a little unconventional, but this is some Breath of the Wild gameplay using Cemu, the Wii U emulator. Now, I bought this game on the Wii U, but it ran like 20 frames per second, so I never really played it. So when I heard about this emulator, I tried it out on my old build, which was the 7700K, I believe, and it ran like crap. It was constantly pausing and stuttering. So when I did my little computer upgrade, I decided to go ahead and check this out again and see how it runs. And the frame rate isn't the best, but it seems kind of weird because sometimes, like right here, you can see it's in like the 40s or 50s, but other times I was running around and it was almost a locked 60. So it really maybe depends on if you first enter an area, or maybe if you've been to the area before, or you know, the way it streams, I don't know, but it's running playable. I would say I would have no problem playing this. See, as you can see now, it's up in like the 50s or so. So not quite sure why, but this is an emulated game, so I could probably play with the settings to get it better or get it worse. I also messed with a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3 emulator, and they seem to be working pretty good too.
Get back, Dominique!
Alright, here's Black Desert. I doubt anybody is really playing this game, but then again, this is one of those games where it ran really poorly on my old computer, and it runs pretty smoothly here. Although the game has clearly been optimized since the last time I tried to use it, so I'm not sure how much of that is the CPU, GPU, and how much of that is them actually improving the quality of the game, but I'm pretty happy with what I see here. Lastly, we have The Witcher 3, just a quick ride through Novigrad.
Look! Look!
Careful, you scamp. This is Novigrad, not your
Eternal fire.
fuck.
And hungry. Blasphemers and cowards hiding their trap. Yeah. Why's my jacket trap?
Let them do as they will. It's not me. How are we to fight a...
So yeah, those are the games I tried. They're probably better games to test it with, but I don't have Rise of the Tomb Raider or Ashes of the Singularity. My Steam library is pretty pathetic. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with this build. Using desktop applications, I haven't had any issues. Lots of programs open. It's a 6-core processor, so it should be able to handle video games and streaming and everything fine. So if you're thinking about buying it, I would highly recommend it. Currently, the processor is at 4.8 gigahertz. I haven't tried moving it up to 5. That's really overkill for me. I don't really want a better cooling solution. I just wanted like a nice little cheap cooler to run and do games, and then it's doing that pretty well. So overall, I'm pretty happy with this build. I think the processor is good. The RAM looks nice and pretty. The motherboard, I probably wouldn't buy that motherboard. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it, but I was looking at a few other motherboards who I think might be better feature-wise, and it might fit better in the case, but overall everything's fine. Setup was a breeze. I've had a game running, this video service open, web browsers, YouTube running. I haven't had any crashes or freezes, so everything's pretty good.